thing that I really loved about Jim is that, you know, he was our teacher and everything, but I think he realized that that we were like human beings just like anybody else, and he really tried, I think, very, very hard to transcend that like teacher-student relationship and like really respect us as human beings and as fellow musicians.
Well, you know, everyone who met Jim was always astonished by his energy, his enthusiasm, his passion. He was not a shrinking violet. He was not a passive person. He was the kind of person who grabbed life by the throat and squeezed everything out of it. And his passion for his students, for music, for his family, for food, for life and philosophy and debate, all of these things came out of him like a river, you know, an inexhaustible river. And I think anyone who met him was so impressed and exhausted by his force of life. And it's difficult now to think that that river is now quiet. But the effect that he had on all these students, all these friends, all these colleagues that he performed with, it's going to last for generations.
That's a good question. You know, every time I saw Jim, I didn't see him as often in the last decade or so as I did in the 70s and 80s when I was working with him. But every time I saw him, no matter what pressures he was under in terms of his work, his life, his health, he was always upbeat, always optimistic, always enthusiastic, and he had that eternal sense of idealism that I think for me, I think is his greatest gift. And it's something that I envy. As you grow older, you can lose that sense of optimism, that sense of youthful optimism that he never lost, all the way to the very end. He was thinking about his next project, learning new music, trying new things. He was indefatigable.
He was my friend, you know, what will I miss? He was my main guitar friend here in Los Angeles. And through him I met dozens and dozens of people, so I'll miss not having that contact and not having his cheerful voice. Hi, Liona, how's it going?
What I miss most about Jim is just the fact that the world has lost his enthusiasm, you know, his incredible love of music, his openness to hear anything in a childlike way. See, this is really an amazing thing. People that keep a childlike wonder about anything, music or any kind of art or living. Jim had that always. He was always just, his enthusiasm is infectious. And that's what I miss most about him, is this extremely positive nature. It's something that gives life meaning and makes life worth living. The world is worse off because he's not in it anymore. But he contributed so much, he's still here to his friends and family and music. So I guess he's still here.
His exuberance, the way that he expressed himself with such effervescent, such passion about music. All you had to say was a title. I remember I was working on preparing myself for a recording that I did in Christmas, just before Christmas, of Spanish music that had I recorded the sonatina and the three pieces of Rodrigo, and all specifically I was talking to Jim, telling him about some of the things in the original manuscript of the Fantasia Sevillana of Turina, and some of the changes that Rodrigo wanted to make on the Tres Piezas Españolas, and also some of the things in the original manuscript of Torroba's Sonatina. And all you had to do to Jim was to say Torroba Sonatina. And, oh, Torroba Sonatina, the andante, the way it goes, modulates, and he would get so incredibly out of, he would find energy just in the title of the piece that completely energized him out of that tremendously debilitating tumor that he had. So energy was his energy source, and he was so vibrant in expressing it that I think that is what I will miss the most. But above all, I'll miss the love of a friend.
As you have witnessed, he was truly an incredible man who had a vast influence on so many people throughout his life. Personally speaking, there are just so many things that I'll miss about Professor Smith. The list would just go on and on. However, as a few others have already mentioned, what I'll miss the most is his endless enthusiasm for all things of which that surrounded his life. From the people to the music and everything in between. But of course, his legacy will live on through those of us who are extremely fortunate to have enjoyed his company. And that about wraps it up for this first episode of the Plucker Report. I hope you all enjoyed this tribute, and with that, I bid you farewell. Pluck on.
Pluck on.
Pluck on.
Pluck on.
Pluck on.
Pluck on.
Pluck on. Pluck on.
Pluck on, everyone.
Pluck on.
Pluck on.
Oh, there it is. Pluck on.
Pluck on.
Pluck on.
Five-finger technique. Use your pinkies, everybody. Sora didn't use a ring finger. What are they going to be saying about us not using our pinkies 100 years from now?
Yeah.
So pluck on.